SN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
We're back on the Financial Survival Network. Well, markets keep going higher, but there's definitely trouble ahead. That's why we've got Arch Crawford on with us now from Crawford Perspectives. And, well, Arch, welcome back.
Glad to be here.
Hey, so these charts, and hey, you don't need to look at the you don't even need to look at what's going on in the heavens to see that there's definitely trouble ahead, isn't there?
Yes, there's big trouble ahead, but it looks, the major indices are continuing to overcome one resistance point after another. The Dow has broken through the 17,000. The NASDAQ 100s is at 39 something and headed for 4,000, and the S&P is at 1388.82 right now, and that looks like it's headed for the 2,000. It's 19 much, and it looks like it could easily go over the 2,000. So we'll be looking for the top right after that, but we do expect some more expansiveness because the sun is conjuncting Jupiter in Leo in the sign of speculation on Saturday. The new moon will be there, the sun, moon, and Jupiter. So I expect the high will be Friday or Monday, and we will continue to be carrying at least an insurance position of negative puts or ETFs on the negative side.
Yeah. What about these supermoons that we've been having? Do they mean anything significant?
Yes, you do tend to have major things happening on the supermoons, and a lot of it happen to be things like earthquakes and floods, but also it affects people's mentalities, people's emotions, so that we do get changes on those. Now we have last one, and we have I think it's 3 in a row full moons that are very close to the Earth, and therefore the middle one will probably be the largest in size. Looking out in your evening at the moon, they'll be very, very large relative to their usual size, and a little more likely to cause some kind of havoc, whether it's political or economic or having to do with natural phenomena.
Yeah. Well, what about all the wars and the unrest that we're having? Do we look forward to more of this?
I would say so. We had Saturday or Sunday, I think, Sun was square Mars, and I expected that to ramp up a fair amount, and I think it did over the weekend generally, but I would expect it to ease off a little bit before picking up again later.
Mm-hmm.
But the wars, the anger, the bitterness, the jealousy, all of the political underpinnings of wars seem to be picking up around the world, with the Chinese, with the Japanese, and Iran continuing towards getting whatever they want, whether that's nuking Israel or not, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I see nothing but a flock of black swans looking for a place to land.
Yeah, well, they've definitely been circling, that's for sure. It's just amazing that it's taken this long for it to unfold,
Right. Well, I'm surprised too. Even the TNX, which is the rate on the 10-year bonds, have not broken to a new low yet. but they are steadily drifting lower generally at 246 right now. But the 10-year rate has already broken a long-term trend line and gone to a new low in the last 2 trading days, it looks like. So I would say that still gives us some potential upside. And the VIX and Vixen, which is the NASDAQ VIX, shot up above 15 for the first time, about 15 and almost a half, for the first time in the last, well, I guess the last time it was that higher than that was in April at the lunar eclipse. And so it's pulled all the way back down now, but it is looking like it's making a bottom formation, which it will eventually spike up, and that will be one of the signs to look for when the VIX goes back over a downtrend at about 16.5, or the last 2 significant highs, which were around 18, or the last 4 bigger highs around 21 to 23. So once it breaks 21 to 23, then we're in a more severe collapse in the markets than we've seen in at least a year and a half to 2 years.
Really? So
that'll be a sign of it. Also, one of the things I look for as a sign is 3 days in a row, or 3 out of 4, where the new lows on the New York Stock Exchange exceed 40, and that's another little signal to watch for. And that has not happened in a while. Also, although the last 1 or 2 times that happened, it did quickly go back under 40, and so the signal was initially given, but it was not confirmed.
Mm-hmm. So the VIX is a good indicator of where it's all heading, huh?
Yes, and the new highs and new lows, and Granville's climax indicators. And, I noticed when I did the numbers this weekend that the number of new highs hit a minor high, and it started drifting back off already. And even though the market is hitting higher highs, it continues to do so on low margin days. So it's very suspect from that standpoint. I feel that you can't believe anything these days, and that it might be just totally manipulated. And so we need to predict or be able to notice when the powers that be either lose control through some natural phenomena or from some attack from a different part of the world, or when they decide they want it to go down. And I don't have the dates of that, but since we've gotten pretty much through July, the next most dangerous period I see is in October, which is seasonal also, as well as some other astro work that I do.
Yeah, and October is always a dangerous time for markets, isn't it?
Well, most of the biggest. I once did a study of the biggest down days in the Dow Jones and all of its history. No, I did it in the S&P, and it was only from 1928. I took the worst down days, and I put them around the calendar, which is the sun's cycle. And 2/3 of the biggest down days appear in 1/3 of the calendar year, centered on the fall equinox, which is September 21st or 2nd. So the big down days tend to be in September and October together. That they keep one gets worse than the other, and then the other gets worse than that one, and it goes back and forth between them currently September is considered the worst month, and October the 2nd. But that's there. So anyway, those are definitely the danger periods, and the dangerous astrology is definitely in October this year.
October. So yeah, that's people are just naturally nervous, I think, in October anyway, due to the
I cannot understand how it can hold up that long, but then I couldn't understand how it could hold up this long from the internal occasional bouts of weakness on the internal indicators, and then the market just keeps going up, and some indicators, technical indicators, just get better.
Yeah, it's been a big mystery, because it's so divorced from the actual health of the underlying economy. But then you look at all the stock buybacks and, all the other things going on, and the fact people are putting your money in there because you can't get a return anyplace else, right?
That's right. That's it's the pumping of huge amounts through TV1 and 2 and 3, and someone said that they're continuing to expand the money supply by buybacks.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, by making deals that can be reversed, that they'll win. But that is not here nor there. It's just that the underlying economy and the income of human workers is not expanding, and the number of them that are taking less jobs than they want is way up there, and it continues to be high. It's dropping a bit, but it is remaining extremely high. And I think the danger is that when there's something that is happening, it's either something that the powers that be are planning or something that they know that they won't be able to control, that the market is just going to go straight down, and a lot of it will be overnight, and you need to keep some kind of insurance and also some kind of quantity of cash on hand just if the banks close, and also a considerable portion in the silver and gold. I don't know if you'll be able to do ordinary business in gold coins there. I don't know what kind of business you'll be doing for that, but the circulated silver coins, also you can buy those by the bag, and you may be able to get, a loaf of bread for a dime or a car for a dime, depending on how bad it gets.
Yeah. Yeah, well, let's hope it doesn't get that bad, but you should always be prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, what about what's going on in China? Because it appears to be a house of cards there too, doesn't it?
Well, they have such a huge growth rate that, in our earlier days, the huge growth rate covered a lot of stupid mistakes.
Yeah, a multitude of sins.
And so, as long as they can keep that going to a certain extent, they're still, and also they're now the largest producer of gold in the world, and they're hoarding it and not telling us how much they have. In other words, their central bank is not reporting all of the purchases. But anyway, that's another thing that's happening there. So I wouldn't count on them to take us down, but it's certainly a possibility.
Yeah. Well, the real estate market, the housing market there is going down, and their shadow banking market is not looking too promising these days, and the transition to whatever the next global monetary system is doesn't look like it's going to exactly be seamless, does it?
I hardly think so.
So
keep your eyes open and protect yourself as well as you can.
Mm-hmm.
And things like 20-year edible food and a little bit of silver and gold, they go a long way if you're so inclined. Have plenty of ammunition.
Yeah, good old ballistic precious metals, as we call them, right?
What is the government doing with like 2 billion hollow points?
Yeah, that's a good question, which they haven't been too forthcoming about, you know?
That's right.
But I guess the government is the biggest prepper around, aren't they?
Yes. Someone said they were buying up a lot of long-lasting food stores as well, but I haven't seen that confirmed in regular press.
Yeah, you know, certain things you can tell that they're doing, certain things you can't. A lot of rumors parading as fact, and you know, it's very difficult to tell exactly what they're doing oftentimes, but you know, it's just you have to worry about you, don't worry about the government, and you know,
yeah.
right? So just be ready, you know, because you never know. It's instability, though, I think.
Well, I also have heartily recommend prayer and meditation to anybody and everybody, as it whatever comes may depend on your state of mind and heart.
Yeah.
On how it affects you.
Mm-hmm. So prayer and meditation, you think that will help you get through it?
Yes. In other words, you'll be drawn to a place where you'll be safer if you have a certain quality of mind, of harmless to anybody and helpful to as many as can.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that, but you know, there's definitely makes some sense. You know, the more calm you are, the more internal your peace, the more peaceful your internal state is, the better off you have to be, right?
That's right.
So, yeah, and there's things you can do to enhance that, and regardless of what's going to happen, that's probably a good idea. And let's not sound too new agey. It's just a logical thing because, hey, life is full of challenges, probably now more than ever. So why not take steps that are just going to make you put your mind in a better place?
As they used to say in New York, couldn't wait.
Yeah, you know. I like that. I like that advice, and it's something I haven't heard many other places in these alternative financial circles. But you know, it's anything that will help calm you down. You know, how much of the country is taking some kind of prescription mind-altering drug, let alone illegal drugs?
But you know, I always wondered. That doctors and hospitals kill 300,000 people a year in the United States. And I said, how could a doctor go in and cut off the wrong leg? And then I read somewhere else that like 35% of them had admitted to taking, without their name on it, admitted to taking mind-altering drugs.
Yeah, oh, I know that's true. You know, I've had friends who were doctors, and you know, the stress of it is pretty intense. You know, you got somebody's life in your hands, and it's stressful and it's hard, especially now. You got like 25 people from the government looking over your shoulder. Did you do this right? Did you use the right billing code? They don't really care if the person got well or not. It's just, did you bill the government properly for whatever you did to them? That's the main concern, right?
Yes.
It's insane, but but you know,
I think we have grown up in the most best times on the planet, in the best place on the planet, and we can say now that that's pretty much over. But we have enjoyed it greatly, and we should be respectful of what we have had.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I agree with that. And it's not quite over yet, though, Arch, you know? Not quite over, right?
Well, it's already becoming a burden in some ways in some places here.
Yeah, well,
a lot of people not working right now.
A lot of people not working. Fortunately, there's still the ones who need it still manage to get the EBT cards, the food stamps. But, when we talk about the fact that they're going to be breaking promises, they're already breaking promises. Look at the VA scandal. That is a perfect example of promises made to a group of people that are not being kept. And what surprises me is that more is not being made of it, because they're breaking the promises to the former soldiers, the veterans, and some of them are not really that long former soldiers. They served in Iraq and Afghanistan, so they've broken the promises to them. They've cut back on their benefits. And this is an analog for everyone else in society, regardless what promises were made. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, you pick your program, they're going to renege. So, and so from that standpoint, I totally agree. And
the other thing is, the government has, when they fired on civilians, it was the March on Washington by peaceful veterans who had been promised some further payment in 1929,
right,
during the crash period, and the government called out the Army and fired on them.
Right. That's correct.
And that's your history. You can look it up.
Yep. So why is it always the soldiers that they renege on first?
Because there's so many of them in the
Yeah. It's not like you can get away with it, though. And, it's just the beginning, right? It's just the beginning. And you know what's coming after it. And it's worldwide, too, right? Every country in the world is going to be reneging. If you remember, we were at that conference in New York for monetary, I can't remember the name of it now, at the Union Club.
PMRE.
Yeah, and they showed the same chart for every country in the world for retiree benefits, for government workers, and, for all the Social Security programs, the same chart.
If I'd known you were going to be there, I would have made more of an effort to get there. I did watch it online.
Yeah. So, it's the same problem faced by every Western country, and it's going to be the same solution, which is, I guess inflation. Is it? And one final thing, what are you seeing for gold and silver?
Well, I'm seeing gold attempting to form a bottom for quite some time now, and I turned more positive on it this week because Jupiter just went into Leo, which rules gold, and Jupiter is expansive. I don't know if that'll increase supply, but normally I remember when Saturn went into Leo, and on that day that it went into Leo, I think the IMF announced that they were going to be selling tons and tons of gold over months and months of time, and it was down limit, and it was the only down limit day that year. So, so much for...
yeah. All right. Well, hey.
And Jupiter is the opposite of the Saturn. It made it down, and so Jupiter should make it
all right
up during the period of transit through Leo.
Makes total sense. Arch, just tell us how we subscribe to your newsletter.
Crawford Perspectives at earthlink.net. The website you can subscribe on is www.crawfordperspectives. And if that's a long thing to write out, you just Google Arch Crawford, and that'll be the first or second thing to come up on the website.
All right. And
it also has our name and address on it.
Excellent. And we'll have the link in the show notes to this interview on financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Don't forget, subscribe to our newsletter. And for the rest of the month, we'll be sending out the first 5 chapters of our book, Forget Wall Street, Go for the Gold and Silver 2, complimentary. So sign up for the newsletter. Arch, always a pleasure. We'll talk to you soon.
Very good, sir. Thank you.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.